gotta get used to this fancy camera in this new studio, S.A.
Right.
Happy Friday! S.A.'s in the building, Mike T's in the building, Woody's in the building.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm doing wonderful. It's good to see you.
Thank you,
I
friend,
see
you as
you
well.
before it was the white and then the green and now the black. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta keep up.
What's up, baby?
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, we in the house. I'm in preseason mode. I'm in preseason mode.
It's good for Friday.
Okay.
It's good for Mr. CIA. What's up, baby? You good? You good? All right. I'm here in the house for y'all.
All right, you good, Mike T?
Let's roll.
All right, so preseason, you know what, Woody? I like that you brought that up because we got some things to get into, and we start our conversation today on First Take with Aaron Rodgers, y'all. He will officially not play in the Steelers' second preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A decision is still up in the air regarding him playing in the final preseason game. But with that great defense, the defense that is signature to who the Steelers have been, we've got that defense backing up the offense. Head coach Mike Tomlin has high hopes for what the new look Steel Curtain defense can be this season.
We feel really good about the prospects of this group. We do. We got to write that story, but we got enough talent. We got enough schematics to do big things. And when I say big things, I'm talking about historic things.
Historic things. All right, so D-Will, we're coming to you first. Is this Pittsburgh defense, is this going to be enough to make this group a playoff team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, with Mike Tomlin, over the years, the defense has always carried them into the postseason. I think the question that when we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers over the years is the quarterback position. We saw last year coming down the stretch, the reason that the defense actually wore down is because the offense couldn't do anything. The defense were playing a lot more than they really should have on the field. And so when I look at this defense, they have all the requisite pieces that you need to go out here and be a really good defense. They got pass rushers. They're stout, as far as rush, against rushing teams. They got guys that can cover. I think the biggest question mark is the quarterback. Can the quarterback go out there and operate this offense? Can they score enough points to keep this defense fresh? But as far as is the defense good enough to get them to the postseason? Yes, because Mike Tomlin has never missed the postseason.
Now, that's a fact. But Mike T, I see you over there, notes, you got your pen tap. You disagree?
Absolutely. In the AFC, in this day and age, guys, you have to score points. And when we think about Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, even the Chargers, you have to be a point scorer to get into the postseason. And I believe in Mike T like anybody else. He's a Hall of Famer. They have 4 starters on defense over the age of 30. So Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slade, and TJ Watt. And at some point, they could wear down. But more fundamentally, their quarterback's going to be 42. So Stephen A., I think, even though their defense can be really good, with a young offensive line, a quarterback that wasn't in the offseason program, who's not playing in the preseason, they're going to have to score. And to me, I worry about that. Not that he's not going to know what to do, but those young offensive linemen. So to me, it's a massive question mark. Even with a good defense, they make the postseason.
Well, the interesting part is that the specificity of editorial content. I mean, it would be me. That would be my lane. You see what I'm saying? Playing is your lane. Being an executive is your lane. The editorial content would be mine. The specificity of it all, right? The question, the reason I bring that up is because the question is to make the playoffs, not to win a playoff game.
Right.
See, to win a playoff game, that's a different animal. That's where what you said comes right into play, Mr. CIA. When it comes to making the playoffs, that's something that they found a way to do religiously. Somehow, some way, inexplicably, even against all odds, Mike Tomlin finds a way to make them relevant enough to get to the postseason. They weren't supposed to make it last year, but lo and behold, they ended up doing so because Cincinnati forgets to play the game of football, from January to mid-September. Because they always start up. They're 1-11 in the first 2 games of the year over the last 6 years, which is pathetic, which calls for an investigation into Zach Taylor and his coaching staff. What the hell are you doing that y'all can't win games in the first 2 weeks of a season? That's just putrid, okay? We get that part. However, you're absolutely right when you talk about the potency of the offense, particularly in Cincinnati, and then Baltimore being probably the favorites to come out of the AFC in terms of their talent across the board. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to have to do more than having an elite defense in order to win a playoff game. But to make the playoffs, even though it's a bit compelling, I'm looking at you. You kept TJ Watt. You still got Patrick Queen in the crew. I mean, like you said, they can cover. You drafted a defensive end in Harmon to come at, first round, 25th pick. What are you doing with him? He's going to be starting for you. So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I don't expect their defense to dip. I expect their defense to elevate. And if your defense elevates within the AFC and you got a quarterback that doesn't really turn the ball over, which is what Aaron Rodgers is not known to do for the most part, I'm going to take those things into consideration. I'm going to say, yeah, that's enough to get them to the playoffs. Okay. But are you going to win a playoff game?
Monica,
that's the question.
Can I change lanes? Can I put my turn signal on and change lanes and jump into Stephen A?
Okay, I just want to make one clarification before you do that, though, Mike T. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season.
Yes.
He has missed the playoffs 6 times, though.
Yes.
Right, and I'm going to use some editorial data on this one, which is in the history of pro football, which is 100 years of data, there's been 2 quarterbacks to start a playoff game age 42 or older. Tom Brady, let's just throw him out, and Drew Brees started 1 game. So for Aaron Rodgers to do that, guys, that's an overwhelming amount of data and history to say at some point he will probably break down. And let's face it, like, are we sitting here, the 4 of us, confident that Mason Rudolph is going to lead?
Hell to no.
Right,
Hell
exactly.
to no.
Right. So what information do we have in the last 4 or 5 years that Aaron Rodgers is going to play in 17 games?
That's the wrong question. What information do we have that the Steelers can overcome the odds under the stewardship of Mike Tomlin? That's the question. You can bring up Aaron Rodgers all you want to. Aaron Rodgers, to me, ain't going to be worse than Russell Wilson. He ain't going to be worse than Justin Fields. He ain't going to be worse than Mason Rudolph. He ain't going to be worse than Mitchell Trubisky. He ain't going to be worse than his quarterback. He ain't going to be worse than Ben Roethlisberger was in the last year or 2 of his time in Pittsburgh, who's a future Hall of Famer. We love and appreciate Big Ben Roethlisberger, but damn, he stayed too long. The bottom line is that over the last 6 or 7 years, we've had nothing to brag about in Pittsburgh from the quarterback position. As far as I'm concerned, Aaron Rodgers playing with house money. House money. I mean, listen, if he went out, as bad as 48 QBR last year, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, about 3,800 yards passing, if he did that for the Steelers, we'd be happy. Compared to what we've been dealing with, hell yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, you got to understand, there's a difference between what the New York Jets asked of Aaron Rodgers and what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to ask of Aaron Rodgers. Okay, the New York Jets asked Aaron Rodgers to be their savior and literally turn the whole franchise around. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just asked him, just be the quarterback. Just operate this thing.
The year that Aaron Rodgers, the injury, the very tough year, the year he went to the Jets, I remember New York talking about this team potentially having what they needed on both sides of the ball, in addition to Aaron Rodgers. So I don't feel like the original plan before he got hurt was that far off from what y'all are saying the Steelers have the potential to support him with now.
But Monica, there's something else fundamental in this conversation, which is I understand what your point is, Stephen A, about, okay, he's probably a better quarterback than what they've had. But the Cincinnati Bengals are 1-11 in September over the last couple of years. Look, if they just wake up and breathe, they'll be better than 1-11. I mean, that's unbelievably bad. They lose on opening day to New England because Gesicki fumbles the ball. So if they just hold serve in September, which, look, let's face it, they're the Bengals, but they have so much talent. I think Pittsburgh is the 3rd best team in that division, and therefore, on the outside looking in.
So let me get this. Let me get. See, I try to be slick. I don't get this straight, Mike T. So in other words, you can pick up 100 years of history and piggyback off of that to make your point against the Steelers.
Right.
But we want to ignore the last 6 years of what we see for the Bengals. Well, it's not going to be this way. It's not going to be this way. They can wake up and be better than they were. So in other words, we'll defer to history when we want to and ignore it when we want to. That's what we do, Mike T.
No,
that's what we do.
I think that's how arguments are made.
No.